So in this video, I'm going to walk you through what really happens after you break the spirit of rejection from a biblical perspective as well as a psychological perspective. Because if you don't understand what's going on, you will sabotage your freedom that you prayed for. So when rejection breaks, the first thing you feel is freedom. You feel free. You start speaking up more, thinking less about what people think, and you just start walking differently. But at the same time, you feel exposed because rejection was never just pain. It was protection. In psychology, this is tied to something called a defense mechanism. Because rejection creates patterns like people pleasing, avoidance, and just emotional walls that you have set up. Those patterns stop you from being hurt. When the spirit of rejection breaks, those walls come down. Now your brain is just like, wait, we're not hiding anymore. That begins to feel unsafe at first. So even in the Bible, you see this pattern. If you look at Adam when he was in the garden, when sin entered, what did he do? He hid. Rejection and shame will always make you hide. When healing comes, you have to relearn how to stand without hiding. And that can be uncomfortable. Breaking rejection does not mean that the thoughts disappear overnight. You may still think like you thought when you're walking in the spirit of rejection. The only difference is you don't agree with those thoughts anymore. In psychology, your brain builds this thing called neural pathways. If you believe rejection for years, your brain is used to thinking that way. Even after you heal, your mind tries to bring you back to what's familiar. Now let's bring in biblical truth. In the book of Romans chapter 12 verse 2. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Notice it didn't say be transformed instantly. It says renewing. And guess what? That's a process. Don't get discouraged if you still see those same thoughts still showing up. That doesn't mean that you're still bound. So after rejection breaks, your discernment increases. You start realizing who's draining you, who only liked the version of you that was insecure, and where you were overextended just to not feel rejected. And sometimes that realization can hurt. And so I want to give you a biblical example. Look at King Saul. That rejection made him insecure, controlling, and he was threatened by others. So now imagine if you was healed in that environment, you wouldn't continue to stay the same. And now a psychology insight. This is called awareness after conditioning. When you've been used to unhealthy dynamics, healing makes them obvious. And so now you have to decide, will you stay in what's familiar or will you step into something that's healthy? This is where a lot of people struggle. Because after rejection breaks, people just won't recognize you anymore. Because guess what? You stop chasing people, over explaining yourself, and you stop begging for attention. And guess what? They can make some people uncomfortable. The biblical truth behind that is bad company corrupts good character. And that's in 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verse 33. So sometimes you just didn't have a rejection problem. You had an environment problem. So in psychology, people was just used to you of the version that they can control. And so when that changes, it disrupts their expectations. So don't be surprised when your healing costs you certain relationships. Before healing, you may have tried to be like, changed your own self for acceptance, just overcompensated. And guess what? That's called performance-based identity. But from a biblical standpoint, let's look at David. Even when he was rejected by people, he stayed secure in who he was. He didn't perform for approval. Now let's look at it from a psychology perspective. From a psychology perspective, this is called the authentic identity. Stop asking, do you like me? And start asking yourself, am I being who God called me to be? And yes, that means that some people won't like you anymore. So breaking rejection is a moment, but staying free is a mindset. You have to guard your thoughts, stay rooted in the truth, not go back to old habits. Proverbs 4:23. Guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. But in psychology, this is called rewired behavior. Healing isn't just emotional, it's a behavior. And this is the reward for that behavior. You stop second guessing yourself, waiting for approval, and playing small. Because rejection used to control your decisions, but now it doesn't. And so this is where most people never get, because they quit in the uncomfortable stage. So listen to me. If you feel uncomfortable right now, that doesn't mean that something is wrong. It means that something is changing. You're not going backwards. You're just adjusting to the version of you that no longer lives in fear. That version of you, that's the one that God can actually use. So if this video spoke to you, comment I'm healing. Because I want to know who I'm talking to. Because you're not going back. And if you're in that uncomfortable stage right now, stay there. Don't run from it. Because on the other side of that discomfort is something that you prayed for. So if you can relate to this video, like this video, share it with someone else. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel to support the mission. Amen. And remember, God is within you. You will not fail.